just means more people are out on the road this morning using their phones, going garage sailing. Yesterday, remember I was talking about the high winds in New York.
In 5 miles, take exit 5, 2, on the right, 4, US 11, I-76, Middlesex, and New Kingstown.
Come to find out, the big rig got blown over in western New York. Don't know exactly where it was, but I just read the headline, didn't read the whole story. Don't know if he was empty or full or loaded or whatever.
exit 5-2 on the right. Continue straight towards Harrisburg Pike, then stay right. Continue straight. Stay right for Pennsylvania 1 South, and Pennsylvania Turnpike. Stay right. Continue on to Harrisburg Pike.
Nobody come and mash it.
Continue. Proceed west on Harrisburg Pike in 1 mile. Take Carlisle interchange on the right for I-76, Pennsylvania Turnpike, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Toll Road.
They don't have a long line.
Out of route. Drive to road behind you on Harrisburg Pike, or reroute from current location.
We're gonna get the tractor washed. So we be nice and shiny. We haven't got the truck washed in a long time. So, figured it's time. We got a whole bunch of salt, dirt, and garbage all over this truck. So, I say we give it a bath. This one's got 2 lanes. One is dedicated for washout only. The other is dedicated to trailer washing. Y'all want a clean ride, right? I mean,
Home. Messaging. You have 4 hours and 35 minutes of remaining drive time.
that's a funny looking license plate that guy's got. I don't even think that's a legitimate license plate. It doesn't have a state name on it or anything. I can't remember the last time we had the trailer washed, or truck washed. It's been enough that you could, like, write your name in the dirt. All the oil and the salt and the grime. It's supposed to be sunny from here all the way to delivery, so might as well go ahead and get this done. William, how are you? Daniel. Gossamer, how are you? How's Rusty's mom? Whoa, Sudi, J-Dog, Mash It Man, how are you? Tara, Alex, Edric, Nancy, hey, the whole gang's here. Gaspode, Ricard. Good to see everybody spending your Saturday morning with me. Gord, Charles, Jeff, how are you? I think we picked a good time because now there's 3 trucks behind us. What is my net weight? I mean, what's like on the bills? I think we're actually heavier than what the bills say. Bonham, how are you? Pete. Rusty is a good kid. Rusty really is. Norway checking in. Howdy. Actually, I think there's 3 wash bays here. Oh, do I have time to switch on the eye? Yes. Nobody is in front of this guy. Let me see what's going on with him. Stand by. If he's broke down or what. Do I have time to switch on the eye? Okay, let's switch on the eye. Joe, how are you? Off my leg, how are you? Yukon! Alright, let me turn on the eye. Alright, the eye's on. The eyes! Do I ever get to Vermont? Extremely rare. I think I've been there once, maybe twice before. Guy's putting his convertible top on. Lollymop, how are you? Is it hard to find a new job or a job for new drivers? No. In fact, now is the best time ever to get into the trucking. And here in a couple of days, we'll talk about it. But yeah, you will have no problem finding a job. I'm going to start helping the new drivers with advice on finding jobs, how to trip plan, how to find the best ways to get in and out of shippers, and a whole 9 yards. Cyber, glad you like the trip journal. M.A. Sudi thought of that idea. Actually, I had my own database for trips for years. And then I thought, well, you know, why not make some parts of that public so y'all could see what we carried and have a way to search trips and all that. So I didn't think anybody had interest in it, and I thought. Then Sudi asked me to look into it, and I thought, well, I've already got it. So now it's just a matter of making a table for it, and that's what we did. Your dream is to be a truck driver. Well, that's half the battle. If you want to be a truck driver because that's in your blood, you'll have a much more enjoyable time than if you're a truck driver just to do it as a job. Google Maps uses traffic, or you can use traffic and all that stuff. You got to be careful though. You really do, because if you have your phone open or your tablet open and you're looking at your traffic maps and you're pushing reroute buttons and whatever else, you can get in a lot of trouble for that. Yes, a lot of truck drivers do it anyways, but they consider that touching an electronic device, and you get a cop that wants to, you know, play by the book 100% or whatever you want to call it, and then get you for distracted driving. The first offense for a distracted driving for a truck driver is $2,750 for the driver and $11,000 fine for the company you work for. But here coming up, we'll show you how I trip plan and how it's extremely rare we get caught in a situation that we're not expecting. I'll tell you how to come up with a plan A and a plan B and all that. Do I plan my trips around the weather? Yeah and no. I watch, obviously, especially around Wyoming or when there's big weather events happening and whatnot. Yes, we watch that. However, just because it might rain or just because it might snow. You don't want to go hundreds of miles out of route just based on it might snow. So you kind of like pick and choose. I mean, you continue the way you normally would, and you could look at the map and say, okay, the storm is coming at this day and at this time, and that's going to be right where we are. But if we drive a little bit further, we'll stay ahead. So you could plan that way. So yeah, some of it's luck, some of it's paying attention to what's actually going on. So how much can you make as a new driver? That depends on what type of vehicle you drive. It depends on what kind of routes you do, and what one person calls a good living, another person might call it poverty. I personally make enough to make me extremely happy, but I've got, 1.5 million miles under my belt, and all that. I will tell you though, getting into truck driving now, you're going to make more money than people in the past, because there is a big shortage of truck drivers. So companies are finally waking up and dishing out the money to get people to drive, which they should have done like years ago. But Verna, how are you? The trailer, the inside of the trailer had a bath yesterday. Now it's the tractor's time to have a bath. I was thinking that the last time we actually had a bath on the tractor was last April. But whoa, I don't remember. But it's like massively dirty right now. How does a stream end and then get restored on a new stream? Depends on how YouTube handles it. Sometimes it comes back on its own if it completely disconnects. I'll push the start button. The only thing with that is I could push the start button while I'm parked on the side of the road or something like that. And if we don't have a good signal, I have seen the signal sit there for 5 minutes before we get connected. So it's really, I guess, how YouTube handles it, how bad of a disconnect we had. Sometimes it just suspends. There's kind of like real no rhyme or reason. Sometimes if we 100% disconnect completely and don't have a signal for a while, you notice that the stream won't start until I pull over and we have an actual good signal. So a lot of stuff comes into play. My bad with the question. No questions are bad. I'm sorry, did I miss it? Don't forget, when I start answering a question, I might miss other questions that people ask, and the chat kind of scrolls by really quick. So Jeff, what's your question? I'm sorry, there's no bad question. Do I have to pass a test before you get a license? Absolutely. You have to pass a written test and a driving test. David, what's your question? I'm not ignoring you on purpose. Remember, there's a lot more of you scrolling across the screen than I could read at one time. Do I have hazmat? I do not. How many miles do I drive in a year? It varies depending on freight and all that. A good average is 115,000 a year or so. What is a driving test like? Well, it's similar to the way you do for your car, except for you're in a much bigger vehicle. You have to, in Texas, you have to parallel park a big rig. You have to be able to back up, I don't know, 150 feet and do it in a straight line, and you have to show you could back up without, you know, knocking over cones and all that good stuff. What kind of groceries did you deliver on my last trip? I just rounded it up to the word groceries because it was like 200 different items. So obviously I'm not going to sit there and post 200 items. So it was, oh well, I don't even have the bills now. I done forgot, but just regular standard grocery store stuff. About 200 different items. Where am I headed next? We are headed to Rochelle. Well, this blue beacon's got 3. Colton, how are you? There's your shout out. Glad you watch the channel every day. You have to learn how to do different hook turns, left turns, right turns, button hooks, all that stuff, and prove that you don't take out a light pole when you make a right hand turn. You know, all the good stuff like that. Well, there's a long line behind us, so I guess we came in here at the right time. Go around this guy. Well, he's got a line in front of him. There is a space in front, but I think he's just being lazy. When the next truck goes in the bay, if he doesn't move up, I guess we will go around him. I don't think he's broke down. I think he's just like not really paying attention. But the lane to our left, it's still got trucks there, so we're not going to gain anything. So we'll just see what happens. Why don't I use the left-hand lane? Well, there's 3-4 trucks waiting there too. So 1, 2, 3. There's 3 trucks in front of us at this lane. There's 4 trucks on the other lane. So have I ever been to Canada? I have not. However, I have taken a lot of freight down to the customs terminal down in Mexico, along the California and Arizona borders. And then the customs folks looks at it and they transload to a Mexican trailer. What are we waiting on? We're waiting to give the road crew a bath. Yeah, there's a big line behind us now. I don't know if everybody's on lunch or what the deal is. Yeah, but that guy's license plate on the trailer in front of us, it says LUST 146, and then it says 8567LF. No state, no nothing. Doesn't look like a regular license plate. I don't know why. I've never seen a license plate like that. If I knew it was going to be this long, we wouldn't have stopped here. I mean, there was like not that many people in here looking at the line.